Hello and welcome this beautiful Thursday morning to Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. On Market Insights, we discuss the stock market, the commodity market, and currency updates. During the week, I have guests on the show that talk about how the federal government needs to improve the agricultural sector by making farming more tech-savvy. Now, the introduction of mechanized tools like tractors, for example, will soon become a reality. Recently, President Bola Tinubu said that Nigeria will soon become a self-sufficient country in food production and would also become a major exporter of mechanized farming. Through mechanized farming, he intends to achieve this through what he called aggressive mechanization. Now, I think this is a very good development. I hope it's something that will come into reality. So how sustainable is this objective? Can we maintain the tools? Is there enough food for us to make us major exporters of food? These and so much more are what we're going to be discussing on today's show. Join us after the break.
Sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Soup News, your source for business, economy, and development insights that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Soup News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Soup News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Soup News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Soup News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Welcome back. Now, my guest this morning is Mr. Ilyasu Ishak. Mr. Ishak is an agricultural business development expert. He is also a member of the Presidential Committee on Zero Rejects for Export. In addition, he is the managing director of Salesium Green Development Company. It's a company that specializes in various agricultural commodity exports and agricultural support business services. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ishak.
Thank you so much, Lavina. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Yes, I also noticed that you were also given and you also selected by the Innovation Through Agriculture Business Ventures as one of the 20 Africans driving innovation through agriculture. Can you tell us more about that?
Thank you very much. It was, you know, as a testament of what I do, trying to promote agricultural development through innovation and technology adaptation. Ventures Africa Biz have reached out to me, and after carefully reviewing my work, they nominated me as one of the 20 African driving innovation through agriculture. This involves promoting and facilitating technology adaptation, innovation into agricultural sector for us to be able to enhance our food system.
Okay, that's a very good innovation, Mr. Ishak. So, during my speech, I mentioned President Tinubu's latest development, how he wants Nigeria to become a major food exporter in the long run, and how he also wants Nigeria to achieve self-sufficiency in food production. But he said he wants to achieve this using aggressive mechanization. So how possible do you think this will be? Like, how sustainable is this objective in farming, considering the fact that we're going to need a very large deployment of tractors, for example, to aid farmers? How sustainable do you think this will be in the long run?
Well, at the moment, I will say it's not impossible, but it will require a lot of hard work due to the wide gap we have with respect to technology and mechanization adaptation in Nigeria. Currently, the mechanization strength, agricultural mechanization strength of Nigeria is quite below the FAO's average, which stand at 1.5 horsepower per hectare. Currently, the mechanization strength of Nigeria is around 0.27 horsepower per hectare. So, I mean, just look at the gap, the wide gap between 0.27 to achieving 1.5 horsepower per hectare. But like I said, it's not impossible, but it will require a lot of hard work, not just from the federal government, but I will say even from the subnationals. The state government need to be actively involved. Farmer, cooperative, commodity associations, private sector also need to very much be involved, as well as the financial sector, because mechanization is somehow, I will say, expensive to acquire or to procure, and that is why we're going to need help from the financial sector. So I think it's a bold step, good initiative toward a very right direction by the president and by the federal government. And I will just say that all hands must be in deck to ensure achieving this set goal. Government need to bring all the relevant stakeholders, all the relevant players.
May I also add to also educate farmers on how this will
absolutely,
be more
absolutely. But I think with respect to the campaign with farmers, farmers quite understand the significance and importance of mechanization incorporated into their operation. The main factor has always been access to it and the affordability by the farmers to pay for some of these mechanization services, or ultimately to procure some of this mechanization equipment. So I think what government need to do is to bring all the stakeholders, all the players on the same table and explore ways they can all collaborate to be able to achieve this goal. Most importantly, the financial sectors, the private sector need to play a role. I think we have seen successive government coming in and having different initiatives with respect to importing tractors, distributing tractors to farmers. But month or few years down the line, we kind of look like around and could not see many of these tractors.
Like if it suddenly becomes an old idea, and not necessarily an old idea, like it's been forgotten, like all the tools just abandoned somewhere.
Yes, because not all the I's were dotted or all the T's were crossed when some of these initiatives have been implemented. You cannot just say, okay, I will import tractors, I will distribute tractors to farmers without developing the capacity of the farmers to operate and utilize that machine or that tractor. Second, you did not build their capacity with respect to maintenance. I mean, definitely a machine that is wear and tire in every machine.
Yes.
So you need to build the capacity of these farmers to learn the basic skills of maintaining some of these machines and tractors, as well as make spare parts very much available.
Yes.
So these are some of the things I think the government must look into when implementing this great initiative. But like I said, it's not impossible, it's very possible, but it will require a lot of hard work.
And a lot of cooperation from both the citizens,
Absolutely.
from both public and private sector individuals and companies. So do you think that this is enough to make us net exporters of food in the future, looking down maybe 1, 2, 3 years from now? Can we suitably or confidently say that Nigeria can be a major food exporter after we achieve aggressive mechanization in our farming sector?
That is, I will say, that will go a long way in making Nigeria or putting Nigeria on the track of being a net exporter of food. But that is not the only factor involved in making Nigeria become an exporter of food. The issue of educating the farmers, building the capacity of the farmers, not just on operating and utilization of tractors and agricultural machinery, but also with respect to good agronomic practices when it comes to production of these food items, as well as providing farmers with access to quality input, which will inevitably enhance their productivity. So mechanization is one factor, but it's not all that it takes for enhancing productivity. There are a lot of other aspect involved. The issue of right seed, quality fertilizers, knowledge on good practices, market, fixing the supply chain, which has been a very, very key issue, because there are some of these food products that we produce, averagely high, I would say, but not all get to the market due to the disruption in the supply chain. So some of these issues need to be critically looked into in order to achieve the overall goal of being a food net exporter.
Yes, I was also going to mention, for example, how do we store these items? For example, if you decide to grow beans and it's the season for harvesting beans, and then you've discovered that you harvested so much beans. Now, how do you store these bean seeds in such a way that it doesn't spoil over the few months before it's been supplied into the market? It's not ridden with weevils. That storage facility is also a very key factor before we start talking about how to export to other countries. I'm just using beans as an example.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like I said, it's not just about how to store beans, but generally to say we need agricultural infrastructure in place for us to be able to achieve the goal. Not just warehouses. You need common processing facilities where farmers can bring in their commodities. It can be collected there, processed, as well as stored. So we need a lot of this infrastructure, organized or structured aggregation centers that will enable farmers to be able to bring in their commodities, process it, do some quality checks, quality assurance, as well as storing the commodity, as you said, not to be able to take everything into the market at the same time. So I think there is need for government to look critically into our need for agricultural infrastructure, which involves the warehouses, the aggregation centers, the cleaning facilities, and at the same time see how government can collaborate with relevant institutions, especially subnationals and even some local government administration on how to develop our roads and links to the market, because like I said, the supply chain is one of the big challenge that is that we have in our food system, and we must be able to address that for us to be able to achieve the goal of becoming an exporter of food.
Okay, I understand what you have said, but you know, apart from that, you know, the climatic condition of Nigeria, we have different weather conditions. There's the dry season and there's also the rainy season. So in terms of achieving self-sufficiency as within the country to actually make sure that our food production can satisfy the population, how can the government ensure that during the rainy season, or rather during the dry season, farmers can farm and comfortably harvest their products without being affecting their food production? And then what's the government's plan in terms of using irrigation system of farming? Because I know up north, in fact, all over the country, it's dry season right now, but I know the weather conditions are harsher in the northern parts of the country. So what plans is the government making to ensure that this irrigation system of farming is being practiced there to achieve this self-sufficiency in food production?
So we only know what they have told us with respect to their plan of, putting farmers back on the farm, even during the irrigation, the dry season, as you have said. But like I mentioned earlier on, the need for us to revamp, improve, develop agricultural infrastructure can never be overemphasized. Dry season farming is 100% done using irrigation. Yeah. Where are we with respect, what level or what is the condition of our irrigation facilities in the country? Do we have enough? Are they functioning well? Are they efficient, the few we have? Of course, the former administration of the administration of the former president, Shehu Shagari, came up with an idea of setting up river basin development authorities, and we have like 12 of them. But as it is today, how many of those river basin development authorities are functioning well? Of course, the administration of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, at a time wanted to privatize some of these river basin development authorities because the government has failed to manage them effectively. So we must revamp, develop, and improve our agricultural infrastructure, be it in respect to irrigation facilities, be it in, like I mentioned, access route to market and to rural areas, be it warehousing, processing facilities, aggregation centers, and all that. So as it is today, more than 80% of farmers rely on rain-fed agriculture,
yes.
with zero participation during the dry season. Why?
Yes, I'm still talking with Mr. Ilyasu Ishak. He's a farmer and agribusiness researcher. So we're still discussing how the government can make sure that there's plans for irrigation farming in the northern part of Nigeria, especially during the dry season. So all over the country, we're currently in dry season. So how can the government ensure that this irrigation system of farming is accessible to farmers all over the country, so that we can have a constant food production yield all through the year? So Mr. Iyasu will share his thoughts.
Yeah, like I have mentioned earlier, the need for us to enhance or develop, revamp our agricultural infrastructure can never be overemphasized, especially irrigation facilities need to be put in place. The ones we have need to be, I will say, revamped so that they can perform efficiently. We cannot produce enough food by just relying on rain-fed agriculture. In this country, we are over-reliance on rain-fed agriculture, and that is why we are facing, food shortage in some times. And you have some crops that, that even does better during dry season, especially vegetable crops, which doesn't require, a lot of water. So I think for the government and for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to achieve his goal of making Nigeria a net food exporter, there is need for us to invest in a system that will enable us a all year round food production, so to say. So we have seen what the farmers are achieving with the little facilities we have, maybe in Kano, in Jigawa, in Kebbi, in Niger and all that. But not all these farmers can be able to afford, investing in setting up some of these irrigation systems.
Well, that's where loans also come in. Through financial institutions.
Yes, but our banks, our financial institutions have less appetite for investing in agriculture due to what they term or they perceive as a high-risk investment. And that is why I commended the administration of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, for setting up the NISAL, that is Nigeria NISAL PLC, which was set up to, de-risk agricultural investment so that it can facilitate more funding, more investment into agricultural sector from the commercial banks. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration need to go and look critically into the activities or the mandate of NISAL PLC and see how they will further empower the institution to provide risk guarantee that will enable commercial banks to give loans or invest in the agricultural sector. But as I said, we need to adopt modern technologies. There are some systems that are even more sustainable, using solar solutions for irrigation equipment. Now we have a lot of solar-powered water pumps, solar-powered irrigation system and all that. But at the same time, how many of these farmers can afford to invest in some of these technologies, can be able to procure some of these technologies? So government needs to do well by facilitating access to finance for the smallholder farmers and see how they can empower. And at the same time, relevant agencies, especially at the subnational level, need to work with farmers in order to put the farmers into clusters, because that is also another key factor why financial institutions find it difficult to invest in agriculture or to invest in smallholder farmers. Why? Because of the sustainability and profitability of their activity. But when farmers come together to form a cluster, it makes it easier, their productivity is enhanced, some of the risks are easier to mitigate when they are in clusters and all that.
Yeah, so I also agree with you on that. That means the local government needs, this is the part where I feel the local government, being the grassroots government agency, needs to educate farmers on the need for them to unite, to be in groups, for them to access loans and be able to get access to the irrigation system of farming, and also the solar panel use of irrigation farming too.
So, I mean, that is right to say, but I mean, most important is for the subnationals, that is the state government, to be deliberate in developing agricultural sector in their state. And one of the ways they can do that is by revamping the ADPs, that is the agricultural development programs in their various states, because ADPs are, institutions that are very much, close to farmers. They have a history of working with these farmers, so it's easier to impact on these farmers through the ADPs. So, and it is very sad how some of these state government have allowed the ADPs, to die, in front of their eyes. If you look at decades ago, like 2-3 decades ago, these ADPs were very active. They, they have a very robust engagement with farmers. They are able to build capacity of farmers, provide farmers with access to knowledge, with access to, market, with access to quality input. So, on a subnational government need to ensure, bringing back some of these ADPs, and programs like the ADPs, which has huge potential of connecting very well with the grassroots farmers, because they constitute more than 70% of producers of our food.
Yes, I agree with that. But I actually liked what you said when you said we actually need to have this more. There are other technological developments with irrigation system of farming. We just also need to tap into that. I've also noticed that most young people don't really like going into the farming work because they feel, oh, it's really stressful, it's not for us, we prefer the white-collar jobs. But I feel with more technology advancements in farming, it will become a very attractive sector for them. What are your thoughts on this, Mr. Eliasu?
Yes, I mean, you have rightly, as you have rightly said, in order for us to attract young people into going into agriculture, we must make agriculture look sexy. Of course, whenever we mention agriculture, we mention farming. The first thing that comes to one's head is his grandfather in the village, wearing shattered, clothes, taking hoe in the morning, going to the farm, tilting the land with his hoe and cutlass. That is the first thing. That is the first thing that comes to our minds, when we hear about farming, agriculture. But agriculture is quite beyond just that. That is why nowadays we even prefer to use the term agribusiness instead of agriculture. So, we must make agriculture look sexy by exploring and exploiting.
Can we say look more attractive as a career option?
Yes. So, exploring and exploiting its potentials that can easily attract young people into going into the sector.
Okay, so yes, I understood everything you have said. You have really delved very well into this topic and explained it to us well. So how does Nigeria plan to integrate its food production into the global community? We know the kinds of foods that we have in this part of the world, and we know in other, like for example, in the Western countries, they might not really have our kind of, our kind of yam, our kind of sweet potatoes. So how does Nigeria intend to actually integrate its own food into the global commodity markets?
I cannot speak about how the Nigeria intend to, but I can speak to how can Nigeria, because I can't speak for the government.
Yes, you cannot.
Yeah.
I just want to have your thoughts on this.
So, one of the key things for us to do is to enhance our productivity and competitiveness.
Okay.
As it is today, we have one of the lowest agricultural productivity in the world. Yes, Nigeria is blessed with abundant resources. Nigeria is blessed with human resource. Nigeria is blessed with good climate that is suitable for production of most of these commodities we are talking about. And at the same time, just to add, Nigeria is actually among the leading producers of most of the food items. In some value chain, we are even the leading producers globally, and in some in Africa. But we were able to achieve that due to our size, not due to our productivity, due to the number of lands we cultivate, not due to the volume of output per hectare. That is why I said we have one of the lowest productivity in the world. I will give you an example. The average yield per hectare, average yield of rice per hectare for smallholder farmers in Nigeria is between 3 metric tons to 4 or 5 metric tons. Not more than 5% of our farmers are able to achieve even 5 tons per hectare for rice. Whereas in other countries that does not have a fertile soil more than us, that does not have a suitable climate than us, could produce up to 12 metric tons per hectare, and we are struggling with 3, 4, or 5. Of course, under extensive management or under some research, we have seen a situation whereby we have gotten even 8 tons per hectare. But I'm talking about for smallholder farmers. Yes. The highest they could get is 3 tons, 4 tons per hectare, when their counterpart in other countries are getting 10, 12, 15, 16 metric tons per hectare. So we must invest in enhancing our productivity, and enhancing productivity will lead us to enhancing our competitiveness. Why? Because it will enable us to produce more so that we can have more to take to the market. Second, we must invest in improving the quality of our product. Nigeria is the leading producer of yam in the world, responsible for more than 60% of the total yam production in the world. But Ghana, who produces not more than 7% of the global production, is the leading exporter of yam in the US. Why? Because the quality of our product, because how we package our product, because of some other institutional problems, which maybe we'll come to discuss in the course of the show. Nigeria is the leading producer of, the second leading producer of ginger. But India is responsible for more than 50% of total ginger export in the world. Why? Because we are not able to enhance the quality of our product for it to be able to compete in the global market. That is why Indians will take our ginger, import to India, repackage it, and export to other countries under the name Indian ginger instead of Nigerian ginger. So, issue of productivity, issue of quality must be given.
Ensuring that these products are of standard.
As standard, global standard. Global standard. So, these are some of the, two major factors or two major issues that government and all relevant stakeholders must pay attention to and be deliberate in addressing some of these. Other factors, like I mentioned earlier, is supply chain. We have one of the I will say worst supply chain. At a time it took my truck 15 days from Kano to Lagos, which is just about 1,100 kilometers. 15 days to ship my commodities from Kano to Lagos for me to be able to export it.
So what's responsible for this?
Bad roads. Like I said, security challenges sometimes. And at the same time, some institutional challenges, because if you engage with these truck drivers, they can tell you there are, bad experiences with security agencies on the road, which sometimes, just waste their time for, little or no reasons and all that. So government must. I was in Europe last year. I could remember vividly. I was in in a town called Paduma in Italy. I don't know if I have pronounced it well. I was on transit waiting to proceed on my journey. I was in that city for about 4 hours. I cannot count the number of trains I have seen moving, conveying food product, grains, moving them from one location to another. We must begin to think of, setting up some of these infrastructures
but
faster,
we
safer.
have trains that actually move across different states within the country, transporting both people and goods.
How
and
efficient are they?
too.
And which part of the country are they connecting? And how efficient are they? How accessible are they? So we need to improve on some of these in order for us, in order for us to be able to address the supply chain issues, which will affect our competitiveness, like I have mentioned earlier. This is some of the things we can do as a country in order for us to enhance our global market share for food export.
Okay, that was, you delved excellently well into that subject, Mr. Iliasu. So I've been talking with Mr. Iliasu Ishak. He's a farmer and agribusiness developer, and he's explaining further as to what it takes for Mr. President's objective to be achieved in a few years, considering number one, self-sufficiency in food production, and also how to become a major food exporter in the next 1 or 2 years. So we'll continue our discussion with Mr. Iliasu Ishak after the break. Do stay tuned.
My name is Ron Gangechi Eze.
Charles Abana. My name is Professor Martins Emeje.
Professor Sylvester Odion Akaine.
Keep
Watching
News TV.
the best news channel online.
It's elevating, it's enlightening, it's educating.
Muhammad Ali found his root in Africa. Rumble in the jungle. I swear the king is humble. Jesse Jackson, O.J. Simpson, this is black history. Andrew Young visit Africa in the late 60s. Legend, Bob Marley make the life different. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X are big names. They fought for black Americans in the old days. We need same revolution in our own ways. Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Mr. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre and Eddie Murphy. American prosperity ain't complete with African poverty. It's legendary Idris Abdul Karim, and you are on to Soap News. You don't touch that dial.
In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Soap News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Soap News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Soap News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Soap News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Soap News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Welcome back. I am still talking with my guest, Mr. Iliasu Ishak. He's an agribusiness developer and he's also a farmer. So Mr. Ishak was also explaining to us further what it takes. We need a lot of public-private partnership. We need more investors to actually achieve this goal. And the federal government needs to help more farmers to come up with more technological tools like irrigation system of farming for us to achieve self-sufficiency in food production and for us to become a major exporter of food in the long run. So Mr. Ishak, what does it take, because you have delved into this matter very well, but what does it take for us to actually cover the unforeseen incidents that might happen in the agricultural sector? Yes, we've looked at dry season farming. We figured irrigation can solve that, but there are also some unforeseen conditions. We could call them maybe things that might just happen without us expecting them in any way. Things that you could say insurance might cover. So how do we take control of those situations and actually protect farmers and also our food production from them? Yes, you've mentioned improving our storage facilities, but could you delve further into this subject matter?
Well, there is need for us to enhance our food resilience, even though, I mean, it could be contrary to a lot of people's opinion. I think Nigeria's food system is somehow resilient, average resilient. If you look at the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic that struck the world, I mean, of course, and how Nigeria survived, even though I'm not saying, you know, everything went well, but at least we were able to feed ourselves averagely. That speaks to the level of our resilience. So what we need to do is to further enhance the resilience of our food system. And what is food resilience? Food resilience is the ability of food system, I mean, that is the system in place, to deliver some desired result amidst some disruption, like we have seen during the 2020 COVID-19, like we have seen, we are witnessing now due to the Russia-Ukraine war, especially with respect to, you know,
grains, importing
wheat,
grains,
you know,
yes,
importing
like
grains, particularly wheat. So government need to invest in ways of improving the food system. That includes utilizing the grains reserves we have, making sure that our grains reserve are working, efficient, and you know, have enough grains stored in them, which could be used when there is any disruption in the supply chain. At the same time, farmers need to be empowered to be able to cultivate more and cultivate good quality, because with good quality, it means you can, you know, store the product for a longer period,
yes,
right? And it means it will give you better result, right? So farmers need to be
they need to be more educated as to how to protect their crop yields every year.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, capacity building training on, you know, climate change and climate change risks, so that farmers can understand what are the risks and how to mitigate some of those risks. Issue of you know, empowering farmers to, you know, be able to produce even during the dry season, you know, at the same time empowering farmers, supporting farmers on how to preserve, you know, their food, so to say. So these are some of the things that government can do in order to enhance the resilience of our food. At the same time, there is need for, you know, developing some of these rural communities, so that the livelihood of the farmers will be further enhanced. With an enhanced livelihood, you have better chance of, confronting some of these supply chain disruption. So I think these are, some of the things government need to pay attention to, which will help us enhance our food resilience, which will inevitably support food security and enable Nigeria to export the food we have.
Thank you for that, Mr. Ishak. You've really explained this subject matter, and we believe that Nigeria can actually achieve self-sufficiency in food production and become a major food exporter through more technological advancements in our farming methods. So we'll take our official CBN rates for today. So these are the official Central Bank of Nigerian rates for the 14th of February. So dollars on the 14th of February, according to the CBN rates, was buying at 1,516 naira and selling at 1,517 naira, while the pound sterling was buying at 1,904 naira and selling at 1,905 naira, and the euro was buying at 1,624 naira, selling at 1,625 naira. So these are the official Central Bank of Nigeria rates, and we're also going to be looking at the parallel market rates for today, 15th of February. So the parallel market rates for today, 15th of February, the dollars are buying at 1,555 naira and selling at 1,565 naira. The pound sterling is buying at 1,890 naira and selling at 1,910 naira. And the euro is buying at 1,610 naira and selling at 1,630 naira. So that's our parallel market figures for today. So I was joined this morning with Mr. Ilyasu Ishak. He's an agribusiness developer. He's also a farmer. He's very passionate about agriculture in Nigeria and how to make the farming industry more technologically advanced, to make it more attractive for both the farmers who are currently practicing and more young people getting into that farming career in the future. And he also believes that Nigeria can become self-sufficient in food production and can also become a major exporter of food production in the future with more technological advancement. Apart from the mechanized, yes, the use of mechanized tools in farming, but we need to have more technological advancement in our farming system, and we also need more investment to achieve these goals. So that was our show today on Market Insight. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having more discussions on the commodity market, on the stock market, and on how we can actually improve our different sectors within Nigeria, within the food and market sector in Nigeria. I am your host, Lavina Emma. Do stay tuned.